Hi again, it's Battle Yogi, and I had a request for a gentle class because the last video I did was powerful, and I sent it out to my mom, and KK sent it to her friends, and she said, you know, we would like for you to do a gentle class for us. So Ginger's joining me today as well, and we're going to do about a 30-minute gentle class to share with you. We all need to take care of ourselves right now while we're on pause, and sometimes we just need to slow down and pause. So a gentle class is not necessarily because you're not able to do a power class, but sometimes our bodies just need to slow down. Sometimes we need a deep stretch. And sometimes we need some recovery and restoration. So that's what this class is all about. If you have the availability to have a block, please grab one, or a strap. I'm actually using a dog leash, so you can use a belt or a dog leash from home. If you need a strap, just make sure they're handy, and quite possibly some kind of big pillow or bolster if you have that, okay? So here we go. Let's start on our backs. And come onto your back flat. Make sure that you can spread the shoulder blades and even try to melt the back of the neck onto the mat. Wiggle around so that you've got your lower ribs on the mat as wide as they can go. And then go ahead and open the arms with the palms up, adjusting so that the whole arm is laying on the mat, coming into corpse pose or shavasana. And then lift your right leg just slightly off the mat and then extend it an inch longer down the mat so you get more room in the lower spine. And do the same with the left. Lift that left leg as if I'm pulling it out of the hip socket, finding a little more space for the sacrum to rest on the mat. And just settle in here. Take a few minutes to try to quiet your mind. We all have this internal dialogue going all the time, and try to shut that down. Try to think more about the physical body and the breath. As you deepen your inhale, filling up your lungs. And if you need to, take a big, long sigh out of your mouth. Feel free to do that a couple of more times if you want. Filling up from the hips to the heart. Open your mouth and sigh. One more time. There's way more room for your internal stress on the outside than there is for the inside as you fill up and open the mouth and just let it all go. Let your breath come back to its normal pace just for a few more moments. Just a few more breaths. Settling in. And then slowly begin to flutter your eyes just slightly open. And draw your legs together and your arms over your head and take a big long stretch like you've had a nap. Draw the belly button to the spine, extend the legs long out of the hip sockets and the arms out of the shoulder sockets. And then gathering one knee at a time, gather them into your chest, holding on and maybe rocking or circling on your lower spine. Let's go ahead and take happy babies. So turn the soles of the feet to the ceiling or the sky, no matter where you are, and see if you can grab the outer edges of your feet. Now, if that's not possible, just grab your ankles or your shins. But make sure you're pressing the lower part of your spine into the mat. and drawing the knees down towards your armpits. And you can even rock this side to side if you'd like. Now gather the knees back together into the chest, and then send your left leg long on the mat. Gathering your right knee and maybe sending it towards the right armpit to open the hip. And let's change that up to the other leg. So right leg long, left knee into the armpit, opening through the hips. Now gather both knees into your chest and allow the knees to go to the left. If you need to take them one at a time, you do. Our arms come out either goalpost arms or all the way out straight. Keeping the shoulders square on the mat, see if you can turn the right ear towards the right shoulder. Long breaths. Throughout this practice, remember that your exhale is your release. Every time you exhale, something unwinds, or you let go of something. Gather the knees back into the chest and send them to the other side. So the arms come out like wings, knees to the right. Turning the chin to the left shoulder, and breathe. On your next inhale, gather the knees back into the chest. We're going to do a little spinal undulation. Undulation's my big girl word for the day. Arms by your side, your heels come just so that your fingertips touch them with the knees bent. Make sure that your feet are not as wide as your mat. You want them only as wide as your hips. And then begin to tuck the tailbone under, drawing the belly button into the spine, and just slowly lift the hips off the mat. And then one vertebra at a time, lower, back down. Untuck the tailbone. Tuck the tailbone and roll up. Coming down one vertebra at a time, tailbone releases. Last time, tuck the tailbone, inhale as high as you can, and then exhale down. Start to gather your knees back into your chest, and if you can rock and roll forward and back to come to seated, go ahead until you come up, or come over to your side and press yourself up to seated. Come to a nice, easy Sukhasana, or if this is uncomfortable on your knees, extend your legs out long and straight, and possibly flare them out just to release through the lower back. Reach your arms way up high. And as you exhale, let the right hand come down to the mat and the left arm come up and over. Sink your left hip back and away, and maybe take the gaze up. And let's reverse that, taking the left hand to the mat, right arm over, looking up, sinking the right hip back, down and away. Inhale to rise. Now take both hands to the knees. This is a little tricky, but it's kind of a cat back, seated. So tuck the tailbone under, just like we did in that bridge pose, and draw the belly button in and the chin to the chest. Lean back, holding onto the knees as if you're going to fall off the back side of your mat. And the only thing holding you up is your hands on your knees. And then coming back up to seated. Let's take that one more time. Inhale, arms rise. Right arm reaches, left arm over by the ear, and then up and over to the other side. Right bicep by the ear, hips stay down, and then grab the knees as you come through and tuck back. Chin to chest. Shoulder blades are coming separated. And then come to sit back up tall. Now make your way to all fours. Knees right under the hips, hands under the shoulders. Drop your belly, lift your gaze, lift your tailbone, let your belly fall towards the mat. And then cat your back, pulling your hips, your chin, everything underneath you. And then exhale, cow, drop. And then pull it up underneath. A couple of more rounds just like this. Use your breath for your cat and cow. Inhale and exhale. And then come to neutral spine. Now we're going to thread the needle. So take your right arm high, lift up, and then coming through behind the left wrist, come to the back side of the right shoulder blade. You can stay right here and just put some pressure in the left hand to press yourself up and twist through the upper back. Or if you want a little deeper and you've got that flexibility in your upper back, place the hand above your head and twist. If you've moved the hand, bring it back in front of your face. Press up and open with the right arm. And then the left arm comes up and then twist. So the left shoulder blade comes to the mat. Maybe move the hand above the head, twisting a little deeper. Try to keep the hips in line with the knees. Bring the hand back in front of the face. Open up with the left arm to twist. And then bring the hands right back under the shoulders. As long as your knees are still okay, start to walk down into puppy pose. Ginger, if you were awake, you could do this with us, but she's not awake. She's in Shavasana already. Chest to the mat if you can get there. If not, just let it fall. But don't hurt your neck. Keep your neck in line with your spine. Walk it back up so the hands are under the shoulders. Let's take a wide-legged child's pose. So the knees come as wide as the mat. Shift the hips back and lower. Let the forehead come to the mat. Sink the hips back and away. And come back to your breath. So from here, begin to awaken yourself again and come back to tabletop position, hands under the shoulders. And then press the right heel back, long straight leg with the right. Stretching out your calf. And then place the knee back down. Let's do the left side. Press the heel back. Stretching out the calf. And then if downward facing dog is in your practice, that's where we're going next. If it is not, your modifications are to stay here or to come to your forearms and then lift the hips. Otherwise, we're going to come hands right under the shoulders and just draw the hips up, back, and away and pedal out through your heels. So there's no judgment on modifications. It just depends on where your body is on any certain day. We're all different. We've had different amounts of sleep on each day, different amounts of food and water. And just pedal out through your heels. Now come up to the balls of the feet way up high. Press the chest and belly back towards the thighs if you're in downward facing dog. If you're on hands and knees, come back into child's pose. And then if you're in down dog, lower your heels. Now everybody, start to make your way up to the top of your back. Nice job. Hang here in ragdoll.
So drop your head, let it shake out yes and no. Your feet are about as wide as a dollar bill, the length of a dollar bill. Maybe if you'd like, you can grab your elbows and let gravity do some work on your lower back. Slight bend of the knees. Feel the hamstrings just start to lengthen out, nice and easy. Breathe into them. And then slowly begin to roll up one bone at a time to stand. Grab your block. Make sure you have it handy. Place it right in front of your feet. Take a big long stretch upward. And then fold forward. Place your hand on your block in front of your left toes. Bend your left knee really deep and reach the right arm high, straightening your right knee to a nice hip stretch. Upper back twist. And let's go to the other side. So just move the block in front of the right foot, place the right hand on the block and reach the left arm high. Bring the left hand down. Remove your block, set it aside right at the top of your mat, and then fold in nice and gentle. First forward fold. Inhale, lift your gaze. Now if you need to take your hand back to your block, or I like to take hands to the shins, lift and lengthen, and then fold in. Two more, just like that. Inhale, lengthen, and then fold. One more. Inhale, lengthen, and then fold. Begin to walk your hands out in front of you. Walk the feet back. Drop the knees if you need to, or come to downward facing dog. Again, if you need to pedal out through your heels, do so. If you need to come to the forearms, you can come to the forearms. That gives you more support in your downward facing dog. Come to straight elbows, everybody, and float forward and lower all the way to your belly. Hands in line with the heart, right under the shoulder blades. Low cobra, lift, and press your chest forward. Leading with the chin and the forehead. And then lower down and place your left cheek on the mat and the arms by your sides. Bring your chin back to neutral, hands under the shoulders. Draw the heels together, lift the heart one more time, low cobra. This time as you lower down, let the right cheek come to the mat and the arms by the sides. And bring the chin back to neutral one more time, low cobra. You can come a little higher this time if you'd like. If you're feeling really good in your lower back today, you might even move your hands back and lift a little higher into a high cobra. And press back to child's pose. Put your knees together this time. Reach the arms forward and long. Then start to work yourself back to your tabletop position, and let's come to seated. So draw your right foot into the inner thigh and the left leg comes out. Bring your arms out like wings. And then extend the right arm way out and the left arm by the ear. Nice gate pose here. Long stretch. Shift the hip back down and away, and the fingertips out over the toes. And rise up. And let's extend your left leg out into a wide-legged pose. And just sit here for a moment and notice how your sits bones feel on the mat. And begin to just shift forward. And it doesn't matter how far you go. It's early in the hips right now. And begin to walk yourself back up. Let's draw the right sole of the foot into the inner thigh. Arms come out like wings. And then shift your weight over to the left. Let the hand fall to the shin and the right bicep by the ear, up and over. And coming back to center, this time we're going to put the soles of the feet together in front of us, and this is where you may need your block again. So this is a nice little restorative pose. There's two ways you can do this. With Baddha Konasana, which is cobbler's pose or butterfly pose, you can pull the heels closer depending on how your knees feel or your lower back, or you can send the feet out so that you have this really big diamond shape. And if you're using this variation, I like to put my block right behind my heels and then put my forehead on my block. Let your elbows slide out over your shins and hold your feet. Now you can do this without the block if you have lots of flexibility in your lower back and lengthen your lower back and actually put your foreheads on your heels. Or you can just lower the intensity of the block. But let yourself go here. Let yourself lengthen. Let your upper body be really heavy. And slowly begin to roll yourself up. Remove the block, set that out to the side. And make sure you have a strap handy. So extend your right leg long and the left sole of the foot comes to the inner thigh. And if you have a strap and you need it, you can use it to put around the ball of the foot. And sit up tall, holding on to each end of the strap. And then start to pull yourself forward by bending your elbows. Pulling the sole of the foot back, toes towards the nose. Keep the shoulders square and coming forward. Try not to let the left hip rise. Press it down, back and away. Concentrate on your breath. Inhale and exhale. And then start to make your way out. Let's change legs. Left leg forward. Right sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Drape the strap behind the ball of the foot. Lift your gaze, lift your chest, and then start to work your way out of your lower back, lowering the right hip and coming down by bending the elbows and pulling the foot back towards the nose. Deep breaths. Again, your exhale is your vehicle of release, so as you exhale, you unwind a little bit more. And then slowly begin to make your way up
extending both legs out in front of you. Now move the junk out of your trunk so that you've got your sits bones right down on the mat. Using the strap again to the soles of the feet. Press your chest forward, pulling the toes towards your nose. Now, if your hamstrings are a little shortened, and you're thinking, oh gosh, this is not in my back, this is in my hamstrings, bend your knees. Because it really isn't just about the hamstrings in Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. You want to keep your back straight. So if you have to bend the knees and then start to straighten them as you come forward, this is a good modification. And it's awesome for lengthening through the lower spine. And slowly one day your knees go straight. I promise. Keep doing this. And they do. And if they don't, who cares? It's all about length and release. Set your strap aside. So make sure that you have your pillow or your bolster handy. And let's put that out to the side so you have it. And then slowly begin to lower all the way down onto the mat. So draw the left foot flat on the floor and the right knee into the chest. So your left knee is bent. Go ahead and cross the right ankle across the top of the left knee. Reach your hands through so the right hand is going to meet the left behind the left knee. Supine pigeon. We're doing this on our backs. Start to pull the left knee towards the chest. You're going to feel a nice long stretch in your outer right hip, your piriformis, which is that muscle that runs under the gluteus maximus. And breathe long and steady. And then let's release and change legs. So the right foot comes flat on the floor. The left ankle comes across the knee. The hands find each other underneath the right thigh. And then start to pull that back. Knee into the chest. Feeling the tension release out of the left hip and the left piriformis. Release that out. Let's place both feet flat on the floor. Grab your block and place it under your lower back. Let's come into waterfall. So with the block under your lower back, go ahead and extend your legs straight up into the air. Nice release for the lower back. Let the legs just hang heavily down into the hip sockets. One foot comes to the mat and then the other. Just hang out here for a breath or two in a supported bridge. Go ahead and lift your hips, release your block out from the side. Now we're going to do a little stretch for the front parts of your legs. So right at the hip flexor point. So let's first place your feet to the outer edges of the mat and turn the toes slightly in and let your knees come together just to release from the lower back first. And then keeping the feet on the edges of the mat, open the knees and then let them fall over to the left. And you let your arms come out to the side.
twisting, and then also taking a nice long stretch in the front part of the right hip flexor. If you want a little more, you can drape the left ankle across the top of the right thigh, right where it meets the knee. And then let's go to the other side. So make sure that the feet are back on the edges of the mat, and then let them roll to the right. And you can stay right here and let the weight drag the left knee down towards the right foot, or you can take the right foot across the top of the left thigh. Arms come out like wings. And then release. We're going to come into Shavasana here. So place your bolster or your pillow up under your thighs and your knees. And start to make your way down into corpse pose. So again, how we started, make sure that the back of the neck is long and heavy, and the shoulder blades are separated at the top of the mat, and the palms resting up. If you need to nurture your sacrum down flat onto the mat, do so by lengthening your legs. Close your eyes. And let yourself be still and heavy. Again, quiet the chatter of your mind. Oftentimes, as we're finishing our practice, we're starting to think of things that we're going to do next, making our list. I'm a list maker. Try not to make your list yet. Try to stay right on your mat. If I do have trouble thinking about nothing at all or slowing down my mind, I try to think about maybe just one thing, one very pleasant thing, the beach, what I'm gonna eat. Start to deepen your breath. Let's go ahead and take that big long stretch we took in the beginning. Arms above your head, and maybe shift the bolster over to the side and lengthen your legs, alternating right and left, lengthening out. And you're welcome to stay in your Shavasana, or start to roll over to one side. Keep your eyes closed. Press yourself up to seated. Hands to the knees, eyes still closed. Mind is quiet. Breath is calm. Make sure that you take a moment every day to be quiet and still. So good for us to slow down. Bring your hands to your heart center. Take a big solid inhale and sigh. Thank you for being with me today. Go out and feel good and be good, but most of all, my sweet friends, do good. Namaste.